Well, welcome to the Aging Boomers. I'm your host, Frank Sampson, and on this show we discuss many of the issues facing boomers, their parents, and what we know, of course, is an aging population. And we've got, as we always do, wonderful guests on our show, but I first want to let people know that today's show is sponsored by Elder Care Resources USA, information for an aging world. Enjoy informative articles, watch videos, download helpful guides, and learn from the nationally recognized experts and connect with key local providers. You can go to that site by visiting eldercareresourcesusa.com. If you happen to be in California, you could go to the local sites, which is ecrbayarea.com, ecrsacramento.com, or if you're in Southern California, ecrlosangeles.com. A lot of great information on there, blogs, videos, articles, so take advantage of it. So we have with us a couple of my favorite people. Been on my radio show before, and now first time on our podcast. We have with us Shelley Dombrowski, who's the regional director for the North Bay office of the Alzheimer's Association, and has been with the association since 2003. She received her BA from Sonoma State University with a certificate in gerontology. In her role as director, Shelley is responsible for developing plans to support existing and future programs to serve residents of the North Bay area of San Francisco, and works collaboratively with the community organizations and provides leadership and support of the Alzheimer's Association. Mindy Wright is the special events coordinator with the Alzheimer's Association. She has the huge responsibility of running the alzheimers-walks in her area. Alzheimer's Association's Walk to End Alzheimer's is the world's largest event to raise awareness and funds for Alzheimer's care, support, and research. Held annually in more than 600 communities nationwide, this inspiring event calls on participants of all ages and abilities to reclaim the future for millions. So Shelley and Mindy, thanks for joining us on the Aging Boomers.
Thank you for having
us.
Oh, it's always great. So tell me, Shelley, maybe we could start with you and just tell me kind of really just an overview of the Alzheimer's Association and what your main objectives are.
Yeah, well, our mission really is to find a cure, of course, for Alzheimer's disease through supporting research. But we do a lot around public policy. But when we get really down to the services, which is the North Bay, we're a small staff, but we have a couple social workers and program assistant and myself. And what we're providing to families and callers are, I think, our number one service, which is our Helpline 24/7. So morning, noon, or night, you can reach us and have somebody to talk to on the other end. We also offer a lot of education. As a matter of fact, we do 2 conferences a year, and that's just a full day of education to families and professionals. And we're doing a Napa conference on December 4th this year. So, but in the meantime, we're just actually planning programs over the next 4 months. So if anyone is interested in learning more about maybe what are those 10 signs everyone's talking about, or my loved one was just diagnosed and what should I know, and that sort of thing, there's an array of programs that will be rolling out next month for the next 4 months. May consist of like communication, partnering with your doctor, understanding the memory loss, dementia, and Alzheimer's. And then in the North Bay, we offer 13 support groups, from wives to husbands. We have 3 adult children. So what basically, we just want people to reach out and get help earlier rather than later.
And, we've brought this up before. The organization is called the Alzheimer's Association, but it really supports various types of dementia. Is that correct?
Yes, and related dementias, yes.
Yeah.
So, Lewy body, vascular dementia, frontal temporal dementia, just those to name a few. But yes, we're not just solely, just don't call us if you're concerned about, you have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease. If you have any of those related dementias, we're there to help.
Okay. Do you happen to have that 24-hour helpline available?
I sure do. It's 1-800-272-3900. And the nice thing about that, so say last night at 10 o'clock at night somebody called. When I get to the office this morning, we will have a report on who called us last night. Oftentimes the persons that calls the helpline, their needs were met during that call, but maybe they wanted to connect with their local office, so there'll be a note saying, please follow up with Mr. Smith. So that's what I'll be pulling when I get into the office this morning.
Got it. All right. So our listeners who, whether they're concerned about themselves or a loved one, they get up and they're ready to go out for the day. They can't find their keys. They don't know what they did with them. They start. They're concerned. Is it happening to me? What are some of the early signs that maybe would bring some concern? Obviously, misplacing keys. I do it all the time, so I'm not quite worried about having dementia. But what are some of those early signs that maybe you should go get checked? Yes.
So unlike those kind of age-related memory loss issues that the keys and why did I walk into this room? The changes with somebody like those early signs of Alzheimer's or dementia, they're all the 10 signs are the same that want to prompt you to see a doctor. These changes are not just kind of once in a while occurrences, but are kind of consistent and ongoing patterns of kind of a loss of function and skill areas that once were reliable, that you really didn't have to think about. But then, so for instance, maybe you've always been really good at managing numbers and finances. Well, maybe you're having problems in those areas. So those are kind of out of the ordinary problems that you weren't once did with ease. Poor judgment, kind of making decisions in irrational ways. So that might be some red flags, that are not consistent on how that person once was. Maybe even having some problems interacting with other people, conversations. Maybe it's just they're too difficult to follow. Unable to find lost items and maybe begin accusing everyone of taking their things. And another thing I think is important to kind of mention, that having trouble with kind of visual and spatial relationships. I had a family member, and this was one of the first signs. They just would come to our house and couldn't figure out which door to go out to the car, and we're going, well, that's kind of odd. But had some real issues around that visual, spatial, not just vision problems, but maybe having problems, difficulty reading, judging distance, kind of determining color and contrast, and again, just basically kind of difficulty with tasks that were once done with ease.
And we have somebody else that wants to say something. So, if this happens, I mean, some people may think, well, if I have it, I have it. And from what I understand, there's no cure to this, so why even bother? What do you say to people who, feel that way?
Well, I think the number one thing is, 10% of people exhibiting symptoms that I just discussed are reversible. So you want to get to the doctor and bring these concerns because, there's no one test for Alzheimer's, but it's going to be a rule out. And they're going to check thyroid, underactive or overactive thyroid can cause memory problems. Vitamin deficiency, especially B12. An MRI can be done to kind of look for brain tumor, stroke, but you want to kind of do those rule outs to make sure that something else isn't going on. My mother-in-law was suffering 8 of the 10 symptoms. What was unusual is these symptoms came on very fast. So that number one was a red flag. Alzheimer's disease, the symptoms come on, it's a very slow progression. So you'll see it over a long period of time, probably even before you get to the doctor. But for my mother-in-law, she was suffering from depression, and once she was treated, those symptoms went away. So that's why I urge those that are calling us that are concerned about their memory or family members calling about a loved one to really talk with the doctor to make sure there's not something else going on. Infections, dehydration, all of that can cause somebody to be very confused.
And we've had on our show previously researchers and people doing this each and every day, hoping to find a cure. But there seems to be some light at the end of the tunnel as it relates to prevention of Alzheimer's, and there seems to be trying to get it early is a good thing. Again, I don't want to lead anybody to think that there is a way to prevent it, but strides are being made to do that. Is that what you hear as well?
Yes, and it's the three things. Mental stimulation. We don't want somebody to isolate themselves, and we want them to be, engage in activities and socialization, and learning a new skill. Go out and take a class for the first time. If somebody, we always get to say, well, I do crossword puzzles, but you've probably been doing them all your life. Try something new. Maybe switch over to Sudoku. Do something that's going to kind of exercise the brain to stimulate kind of a new area that hasn't been touched. And then you want to, of course, healthy eating. And then I think what they're saying, the number one thing out of the three is making sure you do exercise, something consistent and routine. I think so.
That's proven.
Going to class, put a tape in just so you're moving. Taking a walk every day. So those are the three areas that they're really stressing that can kind of lower your risk. I'd love to say do these three things and it'll prevent it, but the idea is kind of risk prevention. So.
Right, and Alzheimer's is considered I've read different things as far as cause of death. It's like fourth largest in of all diseases, or what's the latest on that?
I believe it's the sixth.
Okay, so
leading
sixth.
Cause of death.
And really the funding for this disease is far lower than for heart disease and cancer. I mean, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but it's a distant six. So millions to billions. Exactly.
We're in the millions, and we want to get up into the billions.
Correct. So I think that the big event, and we'll have Mindy talk about this, to raise money are the walks that are held each fall. I mean, that's not the only events that you have to raise money, but it's a real important one, and we want to spend a little time about the walks, how people can participate, form teams, so it could raise money for this wonderful organization. So, Mindy, you want to tell us a little bit about the walks, obviously in your area, but across the country, how people can find out more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned before, the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's is the nation's largest event to raise awareness and funds for care and support and research and all of those wonderful services that Shelley talked about. They wouldn't be possible without the Walk to End Alzheimer's. Most of our services are free to the community, and we want to make sure that it stays that way. So we would really love for the community to get together, show their support for those who are living with the disease, and to help us in those efforts to make sure that those services are available, and also to help us increase awareness. So we have, sponsors, team captains, walk participants, and even volunteers who are helping us to lead that effort. And we want to invite everyone to join us this year. In our area, of course, as you mentioned, we have 2 walks. We have one in Napa, the Napa Valley Walk to End Alzheimer's, and that takes place on September 6th in Yountville. And then we have, in Sonoma County, we have our Petaluma Walk to End Alzheimer's, and that walk is going to take place on October 18th at Schollenberger Park. But for those other folks who are outside of that area, the first thing I would do is just encourage you to get involved by going to our website. You can find out where your nearest walk is by going to www.alz.org/walk, and you will be able to search the walk that's nearest you. And Frank, you mentioned before that we have over 600 walks in the nation. So, there's always a walk near you that you can participate in, and it's very easy to do so. First, you would, of course, want to register, and that is a very simple process. You can do it online at the address that I mentioned once you find the walk that is nearest you. But there are other ways, too. I know not everybody is comfortable using a computer, so you can call that 800 number that Shelley talked about, and that's 1-800-272-3900. And during business hours, you're automatically going to be routed to your local office. They can register you right over the phone. If not, if it's after business hours, you'll go to our call center, and as Shelley mentioned, they'll let us know that you've called, and we can do a follow-up call the next day and help you to get registered. We also have mail-in forms, so if you would prefer to mail your registration in, we can get you a form. You can fill that out and turn that in. So it's very easy to get involved. The fundraising part is also can be as easy and simple as you like, or as elaborate as you like. You can really take anything that you enjoy and turn it into a fundraiser. And I think that's one of the things that I love most about this walk, is that it is so family-friendly. It's not based on your physical ability, your success isn't measured by the mile. You can do anything you want to do your fundraising. Whatever you're comfortable with, whatever your passion is, you can turn that into your fundraiser. So if you're a great cook, for example, maybe you host a wonderful meal in your home or a barbecue in your backyard, and you sell tickets to your family and friends. That's really fun, but you can make it that fundraiser too. If you're a great writer, write a letter to your friends or an email. Perhaps you're a crafter and you create something beautiful and you raffle it to your family and friends. There's no end to what you can do to help us raise funds to support the association. Another way you can get involved, besides the walk itself and being a team captain for a walk team or walking as an individual, would be to volunteer for the walk. It takes a lot of folks to make Walk Day happen. Here in Sonoma County, for our Petaluma Walk, for example, it takes almost 200 volunteers to make that day happen. Without them, it wouldn't literally happen that day. So we need people who can help us set up, who can monitor the routes, check walkers in, you name it. So if you think that you'd be interested in volunteering volunteering, again, you can go online to your local walk. There's a volunteer button you can click on. You can call that 800 number and let them know that you want to volunteer for the day. We would invite you to do that. And also, most of our walks are volunteer-driven, so what that means is that we have a walk planning committee, and they get together once a month and they drive the walk all year long. And we're always looking for folks who can come out and help us do that as well, help us in the planning of the walk and implementing it. So any of those things would be great ways to help support your local association and to get involved and support those who are living with this disease.
Well, that's great. The team approach is great too, because it could be fun for the whole family. You could form your own team, and if you get a number of team members walking and they are out through Facebook or other social media promoting that we're walking, and send it out to all the friends to make even a small contribution, that could really add up, right?
Yes, it does. Just those little pieces, it all adds up, and it makes a huge difference in our ability to provide these services. And it's a really fun day. All of the walks are great. There's always different kinds of festivities. At our particular walk, we have taiko drummers, we have a kids' corner, there's a beautiful remembrance area, and all of the walks have stage programs. Usually there's music, and we have a very touching flower ceremony that is really designed to honor those who are living with the disease, who are caring for someone with the disease, or who have lost someone with the disease. So it's a really powerful day, and I know that your listeners would be very happy that they got involved. I think it's one of the best ways to show their support for those in our community who are having to deal with this terrible disease.
So, of course, they could register ahead of time, but if they're not sure they're going to come, they could just come out there, right, and do it on the spot. Is that right? Or is it? And
you can do that too. We can register you that morning. Registration generally starts around 8:30 in the morning, and the walks generally. I know this is a national podcast, so it may vary in your area, but usually they start around 10 a.m. in the morning. And you can come early and register, and you're set to go. So yeah, definitely if even if you're not comfortable coming out and starting a team or doing fundraising, there's also that awareness piece, just showing your support and helping us to create awareness around this event. So gather your friends, your family, whoever you know, and tell them about the walk and get them to come out with you. It's, as I said, a great day and a lot of fun.
My Facebook picture is still myself and my family at the walk. So it was a lot. It's a lot of fun as well, and it's definitely a feel-good event. Yeah.
Yes, and like I said, it's so family-oriented and friendly. Our walk in Petaluma and in Napa are both stroller friendly, wheelchair accessible. So it's a great opportunity for everyone in your family, from the little people to our seniors, to get together and spend the day together in celebration of the fundraising that's happened all year, and then in the future support that's going to happen because of the walk.
Great. Well, thank you. It's a great event, and I hope our listeners will go in their areas. It's all over the country. Why don't you just state again the website they go to and how they register?
Okay. So the website is www.alz.org/walk. And once you get to that web page, you'll see a little map of the United States, and you can either click on your state or you can actually enter your zip code. And when you enter your zip code, what will happen is it will show you all the walks. Generally, I think it's around a 50-mile radius around your location. So you'll see where your nearest walk is. Click on that walk, and once you get to your walk page, there's a big green button that says register. And registering only takes probably less than 2 minutes. It's just basic information, your name, address, contact information. If you're walking as an individual, that would be it. Or if you're walking as a team, of course, they would want you to let us know what you want your team name to be. And once you're registered, you will be able to access a participation center. So in your participation center, you can actually personalize your walk page. If you've never walked before, you might have a picture of yourself and maybe the loved one that you're walking in honor or memory of. It allows you to tell your story. And I think that's really important, to be able to tell folks why you got involved and what this means to you. So you can personalize those pages. And then it also allows you to create your own link that you can email to others so they can have direct access to your page as well, so they can join your team if they like. They can make a donation directly from your team page. So it's a fairly simple process, and we're always there to help you in whatever way we can. If you are having trouble personalizing your page, give us a call. If you need fundraising tips, we want to support you however we can, and we want to make it as easy and fun as possible for you to get your team started and get it going and your fundraising going.
Great. Shelley, Mindy, thank you so much, as always, and good luck with the walks this year. I know you'll do well, as you always do. And thank you so much for joining us, and thank you all out there for all your support and listening to the show and getting it out to your friends and family. You could do so by you could go to iTunes and just type in the Aging Boomers and set it up so you get all the shows on a regular basis. You could also download a free app by going to your iPhone, or you could do it on your iPad. You could do it on your Android phone. Just go in, type in Aging Boomers, download it. Or you could go to our website at agingboomers.com. So lots of different ways to listen to these educational shows on the Aging Boomers and our aging population. So be safe out there, and we'll talk to you all soon.